I work by myself, so there's no one to lose sight of the vision. I suppose they are getting a lot when they hire me. I've done Japanese Zen gardens, Southwest desert gardens, Mediterranean gardens, you name it. I've done some of everything, and I don't inflict a certain style on my clients. Anything I do is custom made to them. Well, some of the things that we did were to try and blend in as much as possible to the terrain. We were only allowed to use the actual building pad for the landscape. The slope areas were to be left natural. I'm very proud of the way the sunken patios came out, just because they conformed to the natural contours of the land, and it allowed us to use more space than was originally given to us, besides the intimacy and the glorious views that are available through here. This area of the yard was intended to be the play yard for the children, and I anticipated lots of children running up and down this lickety-split. And so one of the ideas with the steps here is to make it so they could walk down this or run down it at full tilt and not have to worry about where their feet were going. We didn't know this was here until we started excavating, and it was just absolutely perfect, because my thought with the boulders is to make them look very natural. Well, with the outcropping, we could just play off of that, and that's how we were able to incorporate the curved stairs in here.
Well, I've got to hand it to Catherine. She set these boulders with my foreman, and we had to actually dig up the palm tree behind us and move it to where it is now, which was mere 10, 15 feet. And then we had to start setting these 6 to 8 foot boulders in here. And each one of those, let's say, probably weighed 8 to 10 tons. You know, and 10 tons is what fits in the back of a 10-wheeler dump truck.
Yes, and I was out with the bulldozers and the cranes, and we did set all the rock.
And we had to like move rocks inches sometimes, you know, the way Catherine wanted them.
And I was well aware that this can be a frustrating experience. I mean, anyone can drop a boulder off the back end of a truck, but to make that look like it was there originally and that you built the landscape around it. Sometimes we get out to the site and what I had thought was absolutely correct, and other times we, you know, ended up tweaking things, you know, turn it this way, no, it needs to go back 6 inches, and sometimes, oh, I don't like that rock, turn it, you know, we'll get rid of it altogether.
So Catherine was very instrumental in this, as much as, you know, I gotta hand it to her.
In order to achieve the Italian appearance, you know, an authentic appearance, we needed to have the stone and needed to use it in a variety of ways. Modern Builders is a local vendor here, located up in San Marcos. They have got quite a wide selection of stone, and they were able to supply us with tumbled and non-tumbled flagstone, cut stone, thin veneer, and so we used it for everything from paving to walls to edging for the driveway, as well as flagstones set in the lawn, just everything under the sun. In trying to achieve the ancient look of an old Italian country house, we wanted something that would look like it's been here for a couple hundred years. So all the edges are hand chiseled, just so that it has an aged look to it. A lot of the key areas are on the south and the west side of the house. This is an area that stays very hot in the summertime. It has hot, dry winds. So we had to use very durable plants that would give the appearance of a tropical paradise, but which are basically indestructible in our Southern California climate. This is my favorite area as we come off the motor court, just because it allowed me to employ all of the Italian design principles, the formal gardens and the complex geometry. What I wanted to do was create a romantic walk It actually is going to be the main traffic thoroughfare between the front yard and the backyard. My goal here was to create this curved arbor that would direct your attention to specific things along the way, and so that the buildings around it would basically disappear. This is a fire zone, and so we were restricted to using wrought iron. So this area is all planted with colorful perennials. There'll be vines that eventually go over the top of the gazebo. Got our limalay down here to, again, make another unusable, narrow, awkward space into something that's really delightful to walk through. The fountain, it's an antique from Italy. The sunken fountain was designed around it. This fountain is off the guest house and is meant to be a private garden for sitting, contemplation. So it was very soothing and simple in its design. Planting is very simple, the hedges around the edges as well as the lawn, and the simple ring of heather around the stone just to make sure that the fountain stays first and foremost in the picture. Another thing that we did do for the neighbors here is to sink the tennis courts. By sinking the tennis courts, we actually made it invisible to the neighbors. That way we could do without the ugly netting, the atrocious lights, all of which goes along with the tennis court. But then beyond that, I did the berming with the soil on either end of the tennis court so that with the plant material and the mounds of dirt, that eventually it will be totally private. Nobody will be able to see the tennis court at all. And one of my goals was to make it look more natural, to have the undulating landforms that you would find in nature. I think the biggest challenge was the backyard. They wanted it to be like a tropical paradise, and they wanted the tropical plants, and unfortunately the backyard is subjected to very intense sunshine, constant dry breezes, and Santa Ana winds, so that the tropical plants would not grow there. What really needed to be out there was cactus. But so it was challenge in selecting plants that would thrive in that environment, but still give the look and feel of a tropical paradise.